Okay, so thank you very much for being here today. And what we wanted to share with you is an opportunity that we're working towards that will take place at the beginning of May to bring communities together, one. Two, to seek feedback, right? To get feedback from our families about your hopes and dreams for your kids, as we're in a process of looking at what student needs are and how we can support those student needs moving forward. So that's really what this process is all about. Before we do the land acknowledgement and kind of get into what a community town hall is, we're just going to share with you a few steps that you can follow for translation, okay? So when this video is posted online, you're going to have some options on the screen. One is you'll see the little closed caption CC in the bottom right corner, and so you're going to click on that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn on subtitles. And then you will see an auto translate, okay? You may have to turn on English translation closed captioning first, and then go back out, click on closed captioning, and that auto translate version option will be there. And once you click on that auto translate, you will see a variety of languages that are available to you. And once you click on that language, you will see the translation on the screen, okay? And so those are the steps that you'll need to follow for first language. And so you can have the option to have closed captioning in English or to have that closed captioning translated into your first language, okay? So we're going to start off with our land acknowledgement. We start all of our meetings with a land acknowledgement as we are settlers on this land on Williams Treaty, Treaty 13 lands. And this is the land acknowledgement that is often shared in many of our meetings. But we want to share with you a land acknowledgement that has been shared with us for our younger students. So one of the things that our classroom teachers and our board has been looking at is how to make the land acknowledgement significant, relevant, and help connect students to the land acknowledgement. And so the board has created a land acknowledgement for our primary classes for kindergarten to grade 3. And so I'll share that land acknowledgement with you today. So our school is part of York Region. First Nations people have been living on the land now called York Region for thousands of years. The First Nation peoples and the settlers who arrived here made promises to share this land. These promises are called treaties. In what we now call York Region, there are 2 treaties, and that's Treaty 13, or the Toronto Treaty, and then the Williams Treaty. And so the Toronto Treaty, or Treaty 13, is signed by the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. And then the Williams Treaty is signed by 7 nations, the Mississaugas of Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Scugog Island, and the Chippewas of Beausoleil, Rama, and Georgina Island. And the Chippewas of Georgina Island are our closest First Nation community and our partners in education. So treaties teach us that all who live here should be respectful of one another. They also teach us that the land is our responsibility. All of nature, the earth, the waters, the plants, the animals are important to Indigenous peoples. Treaties remind us that we must care for Mother Earth to keep her healthy for those who live here in the future. Okay, so that's a version to help our classroom teachers help students connect to the land acknowledgement, and there are resources and lessons that go along with it, okay? So we'd like to introduce to you today our community and partnership developers. And so they're going to be part of this process and have been part of this process since we started to have the conversation about having a town hall here at Fairclough. And so I'm going to have each one of them introduce themselves, and maybe if they could also talk a little bit about their role and how you support our community.
Hi everyone, my name is Pauline Guo. I'm the community and the partnership developer for the East Asian community and also the East area. We at CPD usually we support the families, the parents at the school, facilitating the access to the community resources, and also we bring some programs to the schools. We just support the community.
Hello, my name is Naheswari Sri Kumaraguru. I'm the community and partnership developer for the Tamil community, the regional. So we have a very similar work, so only for the languages are different. But I'm working in the whole York region schools, but I got many referral from East area, especially for the autism kids referral. I think almost it's a 50 referral I got until now, only for autism, especially for the kindergarten kids. And it's a very challenging for myself because we don't have much resources in Tamil. And other things, autism, we don't have a direct translation in Tamil. So it's very brand new words for our community. It's very difficult to understand the words for the parents. It's a very challenging, but I'm happy to help my community. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Harpinder Kaur. I support the South Asian community. So I know my colleagues Pauline and Nagaswari have shared a little bit about what our roles are. We also support with the school engagement, like parent engagement in schools. We also support with advocacy and allyship. So how can you support your child, but also your neighbor's child and other children in the community? Thank you.
So we'd also like to introduce some of our team that's been part of the planning process. So I'm going to pass it over to Bivithra, who's our co-chair, and she's just going to quickly introduce herself and just bring greetings.
Hi, I'm Pavitra. I'm a parent and a co-chair. This is the first time I'm attending it, so I'm interested what information I'm going to take from here, and I welcome everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Donna Franklin and I am the Performance Plus Child and Youth Worker at Ellen Fairclough. My role is to support your children and yourself in anything that they need in school.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ethan Anderson. I am Donna's partner in the P Plus team, P Plus teacher here at Ellen Fairclough. And our role is to act as a bridge between the community and the school and to facilitate any support that you need for your children moving forward and being successful in our facility. Looking forward to working with you.
Okay, so you're going to hear some different terminology, a town hall, gathering under one tree. Regardless of what it's called, it's bringing community together to hear your voice, to guide the school, and to connect community and school. Okay, so you're going to see some different terminology. For example, on this screen, the history of the Gathering Initiative. So this initiative started in 2005 as a partnership between York University and our board. Okay, and so there was a formal pilot that started actually at Armadale, so a school that's very close to here in South Markham, kind of one of our partner schools here in the south. And so it was selected as the first site. And so the model was to go beyond community engagement to support, to explore how parents, families, and community voice could support school improvement planning. And this is something that we've talked about in our school council meetings. School parent engagement is much more than fundraisers. It's much more than that. We need to hear your voice. We need to hear your concerns. And this is why we try to make sure that we send out lots of communication to our families through emails every single week, through our Twitter feed, through our YouTube channel, through making sure that we're visible, right? That staff are accessible and that you have access to us to be able to ask the questions that you need to ask on an ongoing basis, not waiting for formal opportunities, whether it be school council or an event like this, but that those questions are questions that can be asked at any time, because we're here to support your child, and that's our work, and we're very committed to that. Okay? And so here's some of the research connected to why it's important, and to the pilot that took place. We know that where parents are involved in the school and in the education of their child, that has really important positive impacts on students. Okay, and the example that I gave is that I can remember as a kid when my mom volunteered at the school, I sensed her in the building, right? I knew that she was there. I knew she was contributing. It made me very proud. And so our students experience that same pride when they know that you're, in the school, volunteering, either in the library, reading with our primary students. That's kind of the formal volunteering in the schools, but we also know it's about asking questions when you come home at the end of the day about what you learned at school. How are you feeling? What's difficult? What are you having challenges with? All of these pieces are part of that connection that you have with your child, and also with the school. So we know that there's a very positive impact on a child's education when parents are involved, and that it's essential that there be clear communication and cooperation between schools and families, and that events like this information session happening during the day but also at night, and the fact that we're making this accessible to the community as a virtual option as well, gives families the flexibility to be able to connect to the school as they can and when they can. So here is the process, okay? And we are at the community developed agenda and topics, really just the beginning stages of this process. And so that's part of our work today. Then there's the community dialogue, which is the actual town hall or the gathering, which is where we come together and hear your voice and gather that feedback. Then we as a school, and also as a school council, and for any of the parents that were involved, will call you back together to look at the data, to look for trends. What are the pieces that are standing out, okay? And then from that, it will help inform our school improvement plan, which is something that we're working on. We're going to show you a video about that in a sec. It's going to inform our school planning, but also it's going to continue to develop relationships, develop new relationships between the schools and families. Okay, so this work is very deeply rooted in the work that we're doing in our system. So this is the Director's Annual Plan. This is the newest version. We call it 2.0. Okay, on the right-hand side there, around fostering well-being and mental health, building collaborative relationships, championing equity and inclusivity, and empowering ethical leadership, as well as in the middle, supporting the academic success of our students, okay? And so there is a multi-year strategic plan, and this is from our trustees, okay? And then on the right-hand side is the Director's Annual Plan. And then of course there's board improvement plans that help inform our work. And our school improvement plan that we're working on this year, we would hope that by the end of this year, we would have our 3 goals kind of in draft. But keep in mind that a school improvement plan never stays the same. It's constantly changing. So even though we may establish goals this year, we may start to work on those and then realize that they're not the right, that we have to tune those goals, that they may not be meeting the needs of our students. And so we'll have to revisit. So it's a constant process of renewal and revision. So we're just going to share with you the 5 parts of the Director's Annual Plan. It's important to keep this in mind because our school improvement plan is directly connected to the director's annual plan, and so that's our work. So to raise the achievement and well-being of our underperforming and underserved students, we will build safe and inclusive learning and working environments where students and staff feel that they matter and belong. And for building collaborative relationships, that we must build and trust and collaborative relationships with students, families, and staff by developing shared solutions through respectful communication and responsive actions. And you'll note that on each of these slides, it says to raise the achievement and well-being of our underperforming and underserved students. And so as a school board, we know that through data that we've collected, as well as other school boards have collected in the GTA, in the Greater Toronto Area, that our underperforming and underserved students are Indigenous, Black, racialized students. And so that has been the focus of our work as a staff and will be the focus of our work moving forward. So for championing equity and inclusivity, build understanding of anti-oppression, culturally relevant and responsive pedagogy, and the ongoing impact of colonialism. And then to raise the achievement and well-being of our underperforming and underserved students, we will build a shared understanding of ethical leadership that elevates student, staff, family, and community voice. And then provide effective instruction and assessment, which is to provide instruction and assessment that reflects student identities, lived experiences, strengths, needs, and interests. Okay? So that's kind of the big umbrella piece that all of this work will be filtered through. And so this is what we have to create as a school this year. And this is something that we've been working on kind of informally since last year, but more formally as a staff this year. And this community town hall is going to be a really important piece of the work that we're doing to determine what our focus is going to be. And so this plan, we shared with you the director's annual plan, but these are all the other plans that actually inform and will be embedded. It's overwhelming, I'm going to be honest. There's a lot there. And in education, we're really good at adding pieces on, but not very good at taking pieces away, right? So part of our work is going to try to be to keep it simple, to keep it focused so that it makes a difference for our students. So these are some of the plans. The school improvement learning cycle, which is how we review and make sure we're on track with our school planning. A leadership framework, which guides us as teacher leaders and system leaders. The dismantling anti-Black racism strategy. Modern learning strategy, math strategy, Indigenous education and equity strategy, which, as well as the student mental health and addiction strategy, which was mentioned on a slide earlier. Okay. So you've probably seen out in the front lobby a board and we actually shared this with our school council. I think that was last week, where we're trying to give you practical examples of what this work looks like in our schools, right? Because it's big, but we're trying to give those day in and day out examples through our Twitter feed of what this work looks like. So we have a little video here that we're going to share with you that kind of talks about this board and invites you to engage with it.
Welcome to Allen Fairclough's School Improvement Plan. We'd like to introduce you to some of what's been happening here with us at Allen Fairclough. Our School Improvement Plan is a 3 to 5 year plan, and we're just in the beginning stages of developing this. As you can see, it is an opportunity for us to celebrate who we are. right now you're looking at an evidence that shows we try to honor our cultural identities, who we are. We work hard to include aspects of outdoor education. We celebrate excellence with our students. This is where we are right now. We want to maintain some of these pieces, but in addition to this, we also want to be able to include aspects of instruction and assessment, mental health and well-being, equity and inclusivity. So for instruction and assessment, as you can see, there have been many opportunities for us to capture students' work and all that they have been doing around math, digital literacy, and we're working on monitoring this to move us forward with our learning and deepen our understandings of how to maintain identity through this process. Again, mental health and well-being is extremely important. Students need to feel safe and feel that they belong so that they can then be at their very best. It's an opportunity for us to think about universal approaches that will meet our students' learning needs and their emotional well-being. Equity and inclusivity is another area of our school improvement plan that we are working on to address. We want to provide all of our partners in education with opportunities to learn more about anti-racism and embed identity-affirming practices in our classroom. When you come around here, please take an opportunity to stop by our board and look closely at all that's been happening.
So we've been highlighting for our community, for our students, as well as our staff, our work over the past 2 years relating to these three areas: instruction and assessment, mental health and well-being, and equity and inclusivity. So we encourage you to come into the school. If you have any questions about this board, please let us know, and as well as the work that we're doing. We are going to be hosting a town hall on May the 3rd, and we're hoping that all of our community will join us for our town hall on May the 3rd, where you're going to have an opportunity to share your hopes and dreams for your child, so that we can incorporate your feedback and your voice into our school improvement planning process. Next week, on March the 1st, we have an information session, one at 8:30 in the morning and the second one at 6:00 p.m. that will let you learn a little bit about what the town hall process is about and how it's going to connect to our school improvement plan. So imagine us together on May the 3rd in the evening at around 6 o'clock, coming together as a community to share what we know about our kids, right? So your children are with us. Probably we're the second most influential part of your child's life, because they spend 7 hours with us every single day. And so we're coming together to be able to work together to be able to support your child. So imagine coming together around food, right? A light meal, maybe served by staff and parent volunteers. Children, staff, and parents in the community are mixed amongst each other, right? Chatting casually, making connections, getting to know who's in the community, community members that we may not otherwise have opportunities to connect with. And we see those connections happen out at the back of the school, at the front of the school, every single day. But this is just another opportunity to be able to come together as a community. Possibly having student performances, right? Highlighting the excellence of our students. We've got an incredible student leadership group in the school. We have students who create opportunities for other students. And we've got lots of artists and very creative students in our school. So this may be an opportunity to showcase some of that. And here's an example of what the agenda might look like, right? So we come together at the beginning, 6 o'clock, we have our welcome, our land acknowledgement, some introductions. And then we have for approximately an hour, you working through 2 or 3 really, really big questions. Very simple questions, but questions that will give you an opportunity to share what your hopes and dreams are for your child. Okay? At tables, we'll have table leaders. We'll have translators available in the languages that represent this community to be able to ensure that we're able to capture all of what you have to share. And then we'll have a share back, an opportunity for tables to share back with the whole group, and then a closing and a ticket out the door. A ticket out the door means that we ask for your feedback before you head home for the evening, so that will help us know what your experience was like, so that the next time, if there's maybe a part 2 or one in the future, we know how to better plan and serve the community. So here are just a few examples. Again, we're trying to show what it might look like. It's going to look different in every single school, and the process will look different depending on the community, and that's important. It shouldn't be a one size fits all. So this was at Aldergrove Public School. This was the invitation that was sent out to the community. We'll arrange for caregiving so that we can make sure that parents and guardians are able to focus on the work, the conversation that's happening at the tables, and we'll make sure that there's translation available as well. And so you can see the teams of parents working there in that 1 hour session where we were at this school working on 3 questions together. Okay. And this was from Fred Varley Public School, which is kind of north of here, and they called it Gathering of Our Voices. And so again, you can see there parents sitting at tables. I can see that there's some plates on the tables, so food was part of it as well. But as well as there were performances at the Fred Varley event. And here was their promotion out to the community. And this is from Armadale, which is where it all started. And so they continue to have gathering events or town halls. And that was also at Armadale. And so just so you know, there have been kind of as a result of these town halls or gatherings that took place starting at Armadale, there are school-focused town halls and gatherings, but also there have been board-wide town halls and gatherings. I know for our Black community, for Muslim community, and a variety. And Tamil, yeah. So this is a format or a structure that has helped bring community together to be able to support. Okay. Okay, so the questions need to be broad. Okay, I know that we shared with you all of the foci that we need to look at when creating a school improvement plan, but these questions need to be very broad, okay, to give multiple ways for parents to respond. Okay, and here's an example of what the ticket at the door looks like. So the best thing about today's town hall information session was, so that's for today, one thing I would change, and then one topic I'd like to see discussed at a future town hall. Okay, something like that would be our ticket out the door. Okay.